Quite recently, I was in conversations with somebody and we started to discuss past experiences. And when I was done talking, then he reminded me of the story of Job and how when Job was going through an affliction, his friends had turned against him, his friends blamed him. They were talking about him behind his back and everything. And eventually, Job experienced a change. But he did something before he experienced the change. He prayed for his friends. And as soon as he said that, it was like the clock stopped, right? You will know when certain words are for you. Now, please don't get me wrong. These are experiences in my mind, I was completely over it. It wasn't even something I thought about. It was just the conversation led to that. That's why we discussed it. So, I wasn't even thinking about it. I'd moved on from it. So when he said, when he mentioned that, I knew that was what I had to do. So I thought it was no problem, right? And after that, I tried to pray for a whole week and I was unable to pray because every time I knelt down to pray, then I would remember her. Then a thought would come to me. Oh, have you forgotten what that person did to you? Have you forgotten how bad it was? Have you forgotten how bad you felt? What they made you go through? And I was unable to pray. Now, this is something I was so certain I'd moved on from it. I'd forgiven, I'd moved past it. I couldn't pray for a whole week because every time I knelt down to pray, that was what came to my mind. You must have heard about the popular saying, as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Now, when people say that, the first thing that comes to mind is maybe themselves, their wives or their husbands and their children. That's their household. What if you don't have that? Then you think maybe your parents and your siblings. If you don't have that, then you think maybe your friends, your work colleagues and the people in close proximity to you. If you don't have that, maybe the people in your place of worship, that would be your household, or your neighbors. Bear with me, I'm going somewhere with this. Or your neighbors, just people around you, right? Someone once said to me, why don't you have friends? Why do you always move alone? Why are you so introverted? Don't you like people? And I said, no, I absolutely love people. I do that because I avoid weaknesses, right? Let me explain. First of all, my weaknesses. Now, I have walked through and done away with with certain behaviors in the past, and I've done away with those behaviors. Now, when I see people display those traits, I tend to avoid them so that I don't fall back into that same pattern. Does that make any sense? Okay, so for instance, let me give you an example. My spontaneity, right? I can be a very spontaneous person. However, I've tried to exercise control over that. A good example would be, for instance, I make up my mind that, okay, so today I'm going to get up, do slight workout, go on a fruit detox for the whole day, then catch up on prep for my business, right? Do some food prepping for my business. And somebody calls me and says, oh, you know what are you doing? I'm like, so and so. And they go, oh, why don't we just do breakfast and catch up on things, bounce ideas of each other. And after that, we can take a long drive somewhere. After that, go outdoors somewhere. See, that other package seems more attractive, a lot more attractive than what I've decided to do. So most of the time, I'll forget what I have to do. When in reality, you may never push till tomorrow what you can do today. That negates discipline. So I tend to avoid that so that I can focus and be disciplined, right? So another thing is I avoid other people's weaknesses. See, if the enemy ever wants to come for you, the easiest way is through the people around you. And please don't get me wrong. This is not to make you suspicious of anyone. Nobody is perfect. We all have our weaknesses to an extent. This is to make you aware that you have to pray for your friends. You have to pray for your household. Pray for those in close proximity to you. And when you say that to people, they usually think to themselves, well, I've not finished praying for myself. Now I have to pray for other people. But when you pray for them, you're actually doing yourself a world of good. When you pray for their salvation, then pray for the impartation of the Holy Spirit over their lives, that they should become right-standing people. Do you know why? Because prevention is better than cure. If you're all grounded and good people, then there's no weak vessel amongst you or around you that the enemy can use. See, in my local dialect, they say gbadura, kumaba gbadura, which means pray now so you don't have to pray later. Because either way, you're still going to have to pray for them. Either you do it now or you do it after they sabotage you, you're still going to have to pray so that you can move forward. When the enemy wants to come for you, they seek out 3 different types of people. Now, I didn't make the rules. You can find those types of people in the book of Proverbs. Now, if you're not familiar with it, please apply this to your life as a fit. The first types of people are people with the perverted heart. You can find that in Proverbs 6:14. Now, this is described as a wicked person that always plots evil and deceit in his heart, and always stirs up conflict. Now, the Bible explains further and says these are people with haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises evil schemes, and so on. And you should look it up. Now, you may think you don't know this sort of people. You don't have this sort of person in your life. But let me give you a few examples, right? Now, somebody is telling lies against another person and you think it's funny, or you join in because maybe you don't like that person as well. Thing is, highly likely, most likely, they're telling lies about you to somebody else as well. Now, another example, I saw a post one time, and a young boy had pretended on social media to be a girl, right? And deceived another young boy to send him nude photographs of himself. And when the boy finally caved and sent it, the boy started using those pictures to blackmail the other boy. The other boy got so overwhelmed with the blackmail that he eventually took his own life. These were teenage boys, right? Now, this sort of people don't like peace. When it's peaceful, it gets too boring for them. So they stir up conflict. They turn people against each other within the community. So having people like this in your life can be very dangerous. That's why you need to pray and pray for them so maybe they won't see you, right? Because people like this will carefully plan and orchestrate and enjoy watching your downfall. The next set of people are envious people, and you can find this in Proverbs 14:30, and it says, "A sound heart is life to the body, but envy is rottenness to the bones." Envy is so much more dangerous than using a weapon because it's not visible. And having this sort of people in your life, it doesn't take much to convince them to do something negative towards you because they already have secret animosity towards you anyway. And they want what you have. Let me tell you the story of Joseph in the Bible, right? So Joseph was the most beloved son of his father Jacob, right? And he was highly, deeply hated by his envious brothers. Now, hated mostly because his father gave him a resplendent coat of many colors, right? And Joseph, they were also very envious of his gift. He had the gift of dreams. And then one day he had a dream that his brothers bowed down to him, so that the sun and the moon bowed down to him, and he told his brothers about it. And after he did that, his brothers plotted to take his life without the knowledge of their father. And luckily, one of them said, "Oh, let's not have his blood on our hands." So they ended up selling him out to slavery, his own brothers. And finally, the simple man. You can find this in Proverbs 14:15. And it says, "The simple believes anything, but the prudent gives thought to their steps." Now, these are highly, highly dangerous people. Not because they are bad people. They are not even greedy people that they need to get paid for anything, or, they are not bad people. The problem is that these people are so clueless, they will believe anything. It doesn't take a lot for people to turn them against you. All they have to do is put together the right scheme that seems believable, and they'll believe it. They don't think deeply. They don't verify anything. So somebody will just come to them and say to them, "Oh, that person has been using you. Can't you see how they're progressing? And you're still here. They're using you." You ask them for something and they're quick to give it to you. Can't you see how their life is progressing and you're just here? It's because they're using you. They're using you. You have to wise up. You have to wake up. And they would forget They'll forget the times this person has been by their side. They'll forget the times this person has stood up for them, how this person has held their hands. They'll forget everything and they'll go, it's true. Oh my God. See how they're doing better. Oh, wow. Just tell me what I need to do. Oh my God. You say, don't worry. I'll tell you how you can get them back. Don't worry. I'll tell you how you can take revenge. Just tell me what I need to do. Tell me what I need to do because, no, I can't believe this person has been using me. They don't verify anything. They are highly dangerous because they're so clueless. Pray for your friends. Pray for those in close proximity. Pray for your household. Pray for their salvation, for the impartation of the Holy Spirit upon their lives, and pray that their heart is drawn back to God. Because if you don't pray for them in peace, you may end up praying for them in agony. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Namaste.